moving forward into 2002, and now this is an epic time in basketball New Zealand, or New Zealand
Mm.
basketball history. We bet Australia 2-1 in the series to qualify for the World Champs, and now the Tall Blacks are going over to Indianapolis in the States to compete at the World Champs. What just talk me through the start of that journey, and what was so special about the journey. Obviously we know the result and coming fourth in the tournament, but what made that journey so special?
Yeah, it was, I mean, a special group. Like I say, we'd been together for a couple of years, and the majority of those guys have been together since before the 2000 Olympics. I kind of was one of the later ones into the team, but that core group had kind of been together for probably 5 years going into that, and we're all kind of in our basketball prime age-wise.
Mm,
Again, a very high basketball IQ group. Guys that just coincidentally, whether it be just that we all coincidentally had really high basketball IQs, but everyone understood their role on that team. And I can remember we beat Australia, and that gave us confidence because we obviously qualified for the world champs and knocked them out. But more importantly than that, we believed in ourselves. We believed that we were good, and we believed that we were better than we perhaps gave ourselves credit. And so we went on a tour, I remember, before that World Championships, and we toured all around Europe and places. And we actually beat Yugoslavia, who were the world champions. We actually beat them leading up to that tournament.
mm,
Sean Marks had a game like I've never seen him have. He was outstanding in the game. He was pulling off dunks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And you know, and that was when we finally went, man, we just beat the world champs, Yugoslavia, who were the powerhouse back then.
mm,
We're actually pretty good, man. We took confidence going into this tournament. We'd had I think we were away on tour for a month before the tournament started, touring all around Europe, playing all these teams, and we'd had some success. We'd lost some games too, but they were close losses, and we actually believed we were pretty good. And I remember everything we'd targeted for was Russia. Russia was our first game, and Tab had made us not ever look too far ahead. We just wanted to focus on Russia, and we knew if we bet Russia, I
mm,
think we only needed one more win to go through to the next round. And so we really focused on Russia and getting that scalp. And Russia were a powerhouse back then. They had NBA players and top European players. And
mm.
I remember when we would kind of talk to people that were outside of our circle about beating Russia, they'd laugh, they'd, oh, you guys seriously looking at trying to beat Russia?
Yeah.
And yeah, we went out in that first game at the World Champs and beat Russia, and that was kind of where we all started going, man, we can beat anybody. If we can beat Russia, and we beat Yugoslavia a few weeks ago, we can beat anyone at this tournament, And we
Mm.
really had a real self-belief in that group that, we were going to be world beaters. And we certainly didn't surprise ourselves when we won games. We certainly just kind of went matter of factly, yep, we thought we could beat those guys.
Mm.
But yeah, it was a special ride with a special group.
Mm. Could you feel the excitement back in New Zealand? Well, obviously social media is not a thing back in 2002, but could you feel the excitement building? Because I remember I was an intermediate in woodwork class and stopping the class to watch, on the TV set, and we were glued to it. And I was obviously a basketball fan back then, but it was probably the moment where I was like, oh, I want to be where they are. Like that is awesome what they're doing right now. So could you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we would get on the bus every day, and our manager would bring on faxes that people would fax to us at the hotel. This
Mm.
is how crack up it was, and so he would bring on faxes and pass them around the bus, and we would read them and then pass it to the next person. This was kind of, we'd have a 20-minute ride or whatever to the stadium, and we'd read these faxes, and it became kind of a ice-breaking moments, I guess, to be able to break the tension of the group leading into a really important game. We'd laugh and we'd joke, and we'd recognize this fax was from someone, and someone would read it out, but then they'd add a paragraph in about, oh, so-and-so wants to get Mark Dickel's phone number at the end of the tournament. So if you can please fax back your phone number or whatever,
Yeah.
we would just have some fun on the bus like that. And I can remember, the one time it really hit home with how big this was when they told us Rebel Sport had sold out of basketballs, and we were like,
Wow.
damn, like that's huge. We were like, far out for basketball, who was really still a minority sport in the country, to be sold out of basketballs is something phenomenal. And we probably didn't quite understand the impact of it until we returned back to New Zealand. And
Mm.
I'll tell a little story about that. So when the tournament finished, I actually went on a little holiday in the States with my family after the tournament finished. And so I didn't come back with the group. And I can remember coming back into Auckland after my holiday that I'd had. I think it was a couple of weeks after. And coming through the airport, and people were calling out to me by a first name basis. And I was
Mm.
kind of like looking like, token wave. Like, I don't really recognize that guy. And then people were like, oh, Boucher, how's it? Oh, awesome tournament. And I started going, oh, people actually know who I am. Like, that's kind of weird. And then
Mm.
it got, as I got in the airport deeper and deeper, it got more and more. And people were like, coming over and shaking my hand and high fiving me and
Yeah.
saying how proud they were of the Tall Blacks. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, man, that people actually know who I am. And then got home and I remember going out first time grocery shopping and people were stopping me in the aisles talking about the tournament.
Mm.
And I realized from that moment on, man, life's probably not going to be quite the same. There's always going to be someone that either knows you or kind of recognizes you. People sometimes look at you and give you a double look. I kind of recognize that guy. I don't know where from though.
Mm.
And being tall and it doesn't help you stand out as well. So yeah, that was pretty crazy, man, to go from pretty much a relatively unknown to now coming back and people actually know who you are and kind of interested in talking to you and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely put Basel, New Zealand on the map, but as well within New Zealand, the people, I can imagine the numbers of people, signing up to play basketball would have increased, and the popularity um, around as well, and hope and funding would have sponsors, everything started kind of rolling after that 2002 championships. But going back to the actual games, you guys played 6 games in 7 days, and it
Mm.
was back to back games, which doesn't happen in any other world championship sport tournament, however you say it. But you moved through into the second round. You lost to, or you beat Venezuela in the second game. You lost to Argentina, who eventually went on to win it. You lost to Germany in the second round. And then you played the USA in the second round. And was this the first time you played the States?
It was actually the second time. So we played them in 2001 before in a friendly game before the Goodwill Games. That was actually my first ever Tall Black game was against the USA or Dream Team. I think I don't know if they were actually calling themselves the Dream Team, but
Mm.
pretty bloody good still. But yeah, what a opportunity to play against NBA players. I remember on that 2002 team there was Reggie Miller and Paul Pierce and
Mm.
like guys who are Hall of Famers now. Like playing against them and I can remember in the game, Reggie Miller actually started trash talking to me. And this is his home gym, so in Indianapolis. So playing in
Mm.
front of, his home fans and, marking Reggie Miller, opportunity to make and he was at the tail end of his career back then. And
Mm.
I remember him trash talking, something about not being able to guard him and he missed the shot. And I just laughed at him. I had no comeback, same thing. I
Yeah.
wish I could have jawed it up with him, but no, I got nothing too exciting. But no,
Yeah.
just a cool opportunity to play against, a bunch of NBA stars. And, when we laughed and we talked about our combined salaries at that tournament. We didn't even match, not even one of their players' salaries with all of our salaries combined.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. And again, when you go into games like that, you got nothing to lose, like it's like you're expected to lose. And we did. We lost badly. Like they
Mm.
gave us a hiding in that game. But we had the last laugh because we finished fourth and they ended up finishing sixth of that tournament. So
Yeah.
we always say we finished above the US.
Mm. And then so the game, yeah. Well, first of all, that's just epic because now you've had your chance to play against NBA players. I know my wee claim to fame is that I marked Klay Thompson,
Yep.
and Seth Curry was in the same USA team, Gordon Hayward, and I tell my mates any opportunity that I played against these guys, and yes, they were 6, 7 inches taller than what I was, and probably got dunked on a couple of times as well. But it was just cool to be actually um,
Yeah.
now say that you've played against these guys and matched up against them. Um, you bet China, and now you're into the quarterfinals, and now this is the big game against Puerto Rico, and I'm sure everyone was glued to the television sets watching this one. The game is back and forth the whole game, um, and then it's 63 all, and there's about kind of 30-40 seconds left to go. Uh, you run a play. Mark Dickel passes to you on the wing, and you dribble baseline, and you go up, and then you probably make the assist of your life to Piero Cameron under the basket to take the lead. How can you remember that sequence of play?
Yeah, I can, and I think I was just so glad Piero was there because I think I went to go up and one of their guys was coming to block me, and he probably would have blocked my stuff into the 50th row.
Hmm.
I remember jumping and thinking, "Oh, I'm in the air now. I'm going to have to make a great pass to someone." And I remember just seeing Piero under the hoop, and
Hard to
Piero
miss.
being again talk about a guy with that basketball IQ and who just having an amazing tournament. That tournament, he was in the right place at the right time, and it was almost like it was a normal little we call it a scuffle pass or a little like drop off,
Mm.
but Piero almost shot it like an alley oop, like
Yeah.
he kind of caught it, quickly went up because he was so worried about being blocked as well. And that was the biggest thing that I noticed as a player when you go play internationally is there's so many more athletes around that when you go for a normal layup, you're almost looking, expecting someone to be up there ready to block you. And so you always had to
Mm.
get the ball up on the backboard quickly so they didn't block it. And Piero got it up nice and quick and yeah, put us up two.
Yeah. The as well. So you come back down the court, and now there's about 25 seconds to go, and you're up two, and they run some sort of play. The clock's winding down. The shot goes up. I think Ed Book maybe got a piece of it, but suddenly you get the rebound. You got the ball in your hands, and your first instinct is to shovel it off to Sparky Dickel, the point guard, thinking that he would be the cool, calm individual with the ball being the point guard. But then he dribbles back round underneath the basket, which is just a no-no as a basketball player, especially when you're trying to secure the win. And he panics and then does this kind of pass to you, which nearly gets intercepted,
Yeah.
and you get fouled, and now you're on the free throw line. Again, take us through that sequence of play.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember giving it to Sparky because the last thing I wanted to be done is fouled and have to go and shoot free throws.
Yeah.
So I remember giving it to Sparky, who was a better free throw shooter than me and a point guard with speed, and he could avoid guys. And so I gave it to him and then just basically wanted him to bring it up the court. And then he threw it back, and I think a guy got deflected, and I got fouled. I don't think I had to shoot free throws. I think it ended up we weren't in the bonus at that stage. So I remember thinking, God, I've got to go and shoot two free throws, and for the biggest game of our lives.
Mm.
And we called a timeout. I remember when we were coming in the timeout, Tab's like, "Oh, we've got a sub in for you," because knowing that they were going to have to foul, and I was like, "Thank goodness that I don't shoot free throws," and I got subbed out. But yeah, there was a few times in my career you had to shoot big free throws, but certainly at a world championship and having to put free throws to put the game out of reach would have been pretty daunting, I would say. And thank goodness I didn't have to do it.
Yeah, and just seeing Sparky's face after, he just had this big like
Yeah,
breath,
yeah,
just going, "Thank God I didn't stuff that one up."
yeah,
Um, the huge win, quarterfinals. You're moving into the semi-finals. You're playing against Yugoslavia, who you just mentioned before, bet the last time you faced up against them. You guys were up quite a bit at halftime, and then let it go.
yeah.
What happened in that game?
Man, it's just still to this day, it's far. We let that one go. We should have been playing for a gold medal. We were up at half time. We were actually killing them in the game. Like everything they were trying, we were shutting down, and we were shooting the ball well. And we were actually playing some really good basketball. And then flipping half time came around and gave them a chance to, I guess, regather themselves and talk
Mm,
about kind of what they needed to do. And I can remember them just must have obviously said at halftime, "We're bigger than these dudes. We're just going to pound it inside and put pressure on them." And so they started pressuring us. We started turning it over. Then down the other end, they were crashing the boards and getting putbacks. And because they were massive, man. Yugoslavia just had massive, big, bloody Divac and big
mm,
dudes who were like 7 foot, but just massive, big, strong farm dudes. And
mm.
we had obviously Ed Book
Well, Sean Marks was
and
out with the
Sean Marks
eye.
was out.
Yeah.
Robert Hickey was there. He was a big man as well. But we just didn't have, like, Pero was 6'6", I was 6'5". We just didn't have huge height across the board.
Mm.
And being able to, when you're stuck under the hoop with a guy who's 5 inches, 6 inches bigger than you, you're going to get out rebounded. And if you can't physically move them, then it makes it a tough battle. And so we capitulated, man, and it was really disappointing that we did, because we were, like I say, we were playing well, and we didn't end up losing by a lot, but it was really disappointing. I remember the locker room afterwards, we were so disappointed in ourselves that we'd let that one go, because we actually deserved, if we'd played like we did in the first half, we deserved to be in that gold medal game. And man, what an opportunity to be playing for a medal as opposed to playing for a bronze medal, which we ended up having to do against Germany.